Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to Sprangboro Sessions. I am your host, Jamie Dare, aka Sprangboro. Beside me, I have some typical faces, which would be TJ Otto, and then a new team member hanging out today, Scotty
Breaking the
O.
chair.
We got fresh meat.
So today we are on episode number 69.
Nice.
Today
I was
is
wondering why you were chuckling when you're like, "Oh, we're on episode."
today's November 7th, 2021.
Episode nice.
Yes. So, welcome to the cast, pulled out, or Scotty O, or whatever
Yep,
that
just
we'll
pulled
call
out.
you. Just pulled out is that is his identifier in the
Perfect
gaming
name
realm.
for the 69th episode.
It's very appropriate.
Very appropriate. So, you know what? I'm going to let you kick this off today, Scotty O. So, I was noticing the other day, I get a bunch of like bogus posts and stuff on my phone all day long.
Right.
One that was very irrelevant to me was something about Odell Beckham Jr. getting let go or something.
Oh yeah. Well, it all started out with his dad, who put out this this Instagram video about his son not being appreciated by the Browns. Then you go into the stats, and he was actually the highest targeted receiver, but he also dropped most of those passes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, Baker Mayfield isn't showing my son any love. And it's like, your son kind of sucks at catching the ball. So, there was some drama earlier. The Browns sat him out of practice. It's like, nah, he's just not going to be. They're paying him a shit ton of money. He was great when he was a New York Giant. Like, he was the fucking the
next
ball.
deal,
Yeah, he was-
big deal, you know.
With the bell of the ball, but not so much now. So
Well, his first year with the Browns, he did pretty good. He matched
he
pretty
did
much.
good. And
Yeah,
then the
but
second year,
but
he was out
but the
with
way that
knee
the Browns
injury.
were playing
Yeah.
that year, it was like anyone was
Yeah.
going to be good.
He only got, just for stats wise, he only got 319 yards in 2020. Well, I mean, he was out for a while, right?
I think he's got like, I don't even remember how many catches for how many yards that it was. All this drama shit happened this year,
Yeah.
and he was the highest targeted receiver. So I actually put a Facebook post earlier. I'm like, yeah, we're doing just fine when we beat the Bengals, who somehow are like the powerhouse of the division. Which, whoever thought that would be a thing, because they are always last place. But like, yeah, we're doing just fine. But yeah, it ended up his dad posted this Instagram thing talking all kinds of shit. Brown's pretty much just silenced him, be like, yeah, he's excused from practice today. Excused from practice today.
Mhm.
Like, oh, he's been asking for trades, this and that. And I thought they handled it appropriate. Like, nah, we don't need that drama, because that's what it seems to be with the NFL these days. It's just all drama. It doesn't matter what team it is, whether the Browns. I mean, the Steelers had it with what's his name? Their fucking receiver. I don't even think it's in the league anymore. And the Browns have had their problems with receivers.
Well, that
It just
never.
seems like it.
You
You
know,
just need to cut it.
you
cut
look
it
at
out.
the Raiders. You look
Yeah.
at the Steelers
Oh, did you
and
see-
Patriots with Antonio Brown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of Antonio Brown. But did you see the Raiders? I think he was a receiver, maybe running back. I can't remember, but he rear-ended a car at 126 miles an hour.
Yeah, what was his name? Sags or something? Or what?
I don't even remember what it was, but I remember the story popped up on my thing, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, rear-ended a car at 126 miles an hour. His alcohol blood level was twice the legal limit. Like, basically blew up this car, caught her on fire.
Henry Ruggs the third.
That's what it was. Dude had the world, like millions and millions of dollars. Probably only had to work for a couple years, which I'm not saying it's an easy job. A couple years, you don't have to work another day in your life.
Then you can spend the rest of your time fishing and
What? I
doing.
don't know why these guys feel
commentary.
invincible. It's. Ugh.
Yeah, and to clarify, he did kill the driver.
Right, absolutely.
And
I mean,
I
we
mean,
work our asses
156
off,
miles per hour. That's super crazy.
right? And
Yeah,
it was like 5 miles away from the strip in Las Vegas. But to feel like you're in, and a lot of these players or high profile celebrities feel like they're invincible. Yeah, it's just one bad mistake away from.
yeah. It's crazy. Like you get that kind of stuff. How old was that guy?
He
Henry
was
there.
pretty young.
But he was young.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think this is like his second or third year in the league, so mid-20s. I mean,
yeah.
way younger than
Tough,
us.
man.
And
Yeah, it's kind of tough when you get that much
oh
money all of
yeah,
a sudden you come from.
absolutely. I mean,
You
you
know.
look at like LeBron James, Justin Bieber. You get handed
Oh yeah,
millions and millions of dollars
yeah. I
when
think about
you're
how old I
in
was
high
at 20.
school.
When I was like at 20, you know. Like,
Right? Yeah, I was making like $12 an hour
and I
when
had
I
a
was in high school.
shitbox. Yeah, I had a shitbox Cavalier. You know, or
Right? Absolutely.
Springs Classic.
I
You know
mean,
what I
I
mean? And I
know
was
that
still driving like a dick.
yeah, I mean, it's something that you're like, how can you do that? But you've also never been able to drive a new Corvette a few
I think
years out of high school. It's like,
Let's be fair. If I'd have drove my Chevy Cavalier that I had at the time 156 miles per hour, it would have fallen apart.
yeah,
right, absolutely, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I used to go through. No, I'm not going to incriminate myself, but
Right?
but yeah, no, we did some shady shit when I was even in my mid-20s.
No, absolutely.
You
There's
know,
been many times when I woke up and I'm like, how the fuck am I still alive? But
I think like
yeah,
at least people that get these kind of contracts and that big cash
oh
sign-on bonus,
yeah,
they need to
absolutely.
have like the teams need to supply like a business and finance manager, someone that can be in their ear at all times to say,
Yeah, that's
hey,
something.
this is what's happening. Let's look at the bigger picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
Kind of,
is
they
a
need
lot of
guidance.
money
You know, and
to
they need
offer a
guidance.
kid. I mean, basically, you're a kid. I
They're not
know
even developed.
we all thought we knew what we were doing at 19, 20, 21 years old. We didn't
Yep.
know what the fuck we were doing.
No,
Not
I
even
mean
a little bit.
you're not mentally developed till you're
No.
25. You know, the youngest. You know, not a lot of I know a lot of 30 or 40
Yeah.
year olds that
I was
aren't
going to
fully
say, I know
mentally
a lot of
developed.
people that are over 25 that are mentally developed.
this
Jamie's like,
this guy included, but
right?
you know,
Yeah,
but
that's a shit
but
ton of money. And honestly,
yeah, it'll
there
fuck you
should
up,
be like
especially
a trust fund.
if
I
you're
mean,
trying to impress people. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
there's got to be more safeguards for these guys, and
Oh,
you're getting
absolutely.
knocked. You know, you're getting knocked around. The head injuries. All
Oh,
of a
yeah.
sudden you've got
The CFT.
everybody coming out of everywhere wanting to be your guy and be the yes man. I guarantee you, they don't have many people that are going, "Hey, dude, that's not a good idea." You know
Right.
what I mean?
I
I
mean, I'm a
guarantee
big
you, there's
metalhead.
more. Yeah.
One of my favorite bands, Motley Crue.
Hmm.
And you look at the shit that they went through, and Vince Neil killed somebody in voluntary manslaughter. I think he spent like 30 days in jail.
Hmm.
Kind of got some special treatment.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Sort of,
mean,
kinda.
yeah, I mean, it's,
Money will buy that for you, though.
Well, I
oh,
mean,
for sure.
to be fair, I mean, I know a guy that in the middle of the winter was driving down a pretty busy road, and as we all know, driving on winter roads, you can't stop, can't see when it's dark and overcast and stuff, I know he ended up hurting someone that he ran into, and like you would think that something to that degree of a situation would be kind of dealt with a certain way, but I guess it is all based upon the story and the person and the circumstances, and which I was thankful for that particular story because it was an accident, but
Yeah.
Right.
but when you're I'm sorry, it's just like the whole Morgan Wallen thing, getting the cancel culture and stuff like that. I like Morgan Wallen. I think he's a fantastic musician. I think he's great. Do I think that he's a bad person? Probably not. Do I know him? No. Just like Michael Jackson and all them, I don't know them as people. All I know is what they do, in their craft and in their careers. And like Morgan Wallen, he's done so many things to try and change his, from being canceled to more. But the moral I'm getting at is when you are that caliber of a musician or a professional athlete, there is certain, you're gonna always have cameras on you. Like, you should not be doing stupid stuff that you don't want to hold your head high, and
and people make mistakes, but the point that I was kind of getting at, some of these people feel like invincible, like they don't feel like their actions are as detrimental as other people's. But I don't care that you're in the national spotlight and you make millions of dollars. Stupid decisions, you have to deal with
the consequences. Yeah, well,
yeah, absolutely.
A D-bag's a D-bag at the end of the day. Yeah,
right. It does suck. I mean, it does happen. Like you said, an accident's an accident. If you make a mistake, and I'm all about, we all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Hell, my mom made 4 of them.
Right. 2 of them look like you.
I was the last mistake.
She made 2 of them in one shot. She just freaking popped those bad boys out.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that people do make mistakes, but the degree in which you made them, like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. His NFL career is over, and then I read more into the story. I'm like, oh, he was 2 times the legal limit, and then rear-ended somebody going 126 miles an hour. I'm like,
come on, man.
I don't feel bad about that anymore. I'm like,
I don't so much feel bad about it. It is in the end, it is his decision to come out. But I think there needs to be, like, there's things we can do to try and put some perspective ahead of that. You know, I'm not saying he should get the full breadth of the law just like anybody else.
Yeah,
like
I think they did it. It was aggravated vehicular homicide,
manslaughter, or homicide. Yeah, it should be, but it should like be a
or something like
should
that.
be a learning point for the NFL and for these groups. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, and he was a young kid. I mean, it saddens me that I considered a 21-year-old a young kid, but we are of age, so. Right?
He's half my age, so
right. So I'm like, but I do go back to like, what was I like at that age? I'm like, I did make some questionable decisions as well, but I also didn't have millions of dollars in a Corvette, so. Like, we go back to the shitbox Cavaliers, so maybe we just had it easier because we couldn't go that fast. But
maybe.
We had our own things that said no, the car. It said no.
I had a Ford ZX2 that topped out at 105. Probably could have killed somebody like that, but...
I could get my Caprice up to probably 95 if I could go in a straight line, because I didn't have any power steering. So... Trying to turn a corner, you grab the steering wheel like this and pull.
Oh yeah, it's like pulling.
I was just thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, I'm on some fucking.
No, see, like you have this big old steering wheel, and you're grabbing onto it, and you're like.
The worst thing about situations like that, though, TJ, is my mom had this one. I can't remember what kind of car it was, but I think it was a hoopty ride, and the first time I had ever. Like right after I got my license, I wanted to go to Cleveland. I wasn't old enough to drink. I think I know I was 18 when I got my license, and it was either that New Year's or the year after that. Actually, I'm certain I was 18. I went to Cleveland, which is what Scotty O does every single day. But that's like an hour and a half away from here or something. Oh, okay. And I went to go stay with some of my friends from camp and whatever. Now, I talk to them, the whole group of them once in a while. But long story short, Linda's mom owned a bar, And I remember going out to Cleveland, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! Like it's a big world." And now I'm out further than Erie, PA.
Yep.
And my mom's car. Every day you would have to pour a quart or whatever the size was of power steering fluid.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time my mom had that car, that's what we did. Every single time
Must
we
have
drove.
been a Ford. That
Yeah.
seems to be the
We would do it every
Ford
day.
power steering. Actually, we have a GMC at work that requires like a quart of power steering fluid. But yeah, definitely familiar with what you're talking about. Just every day, just top it off. It's fine.
But you know what the dick kicker is that when you actually look at it, when you're talking to a mechanic and they're looking at the car and you're telling them the story and they're like, oh, and they look down and they're like, well, this hose right here needs to be attached. This hose
Right?
is not attached.
Yeah.
What? See all
This
that
$30
leak?
fix
See all
would
that leaking
probably
you're getting?
negate
It's because this
$100.
hose isn't hooked up right here. They hook it up,
Right?
power steering, the whole rest of the life of the car, and you're just like, son of a bitch.
Right? I had every once in a while. I mean, I have my regular customers, but I get an outside customer. They're like, "Oh, I keep having to do this and this and that," and it's like if you just hook that hose up, you don't have to spend $100 in fucking brake fluid or this and that blah, 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 a month.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Nobody's just told you that you had a leaky hose. Here's this $3 fitting that'll take care of that."
Yeah, that stupid little
And they're
clamp.
just like,
yeah.
"Thank you." I'm like,
All right.
I don't think I'm a great guy. I just think a lot of assholes. I don't know.
It's just I've had to already deal with a bunch of this type of shit.
Right?
That's it. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
exactly.
Well, so and so told me I needed this. Yeah, well, they were lying.
So yeah, it looks like the Browns won 41-16.
Right? And without Beckham Jr., I mean,
Man, I'm telling you, that's a
I don't know. We were so good last year, and there was a ton of Steelers fans that were like, "Look at the fucking Browns! Like, look at them." And then this year, they're like, "Oh, the Bengals are going to be at the top of the division." I'm like, man, that doesn't sound right at all.
Oh,
Are we talking the same Bengals?
They were top of the division, and I think they're dead last now after the last couple weeks. Like, it's going to be a tough division. They're saying that there could be 3 teams because of the wild card from this division going into the playoffs. Which the Browns were in the playoffs for the first time since like 2007 last year. Didn't come out blazing. I have faith in Baker Mayfield, but I don't like the drama. And there's always drama, and it's usually quarterback drama with the Browns. There's not quarterback drama because Baker Mayfield's. But the Odell Beckham thing, I thought it was going to be great, but you know what? Jarvis Landry, who was a teammate of Odell Beckham Jr., has always outperformed him. And then you got People Jones, who's they're going a lot more with the tight ends, who has been like solid. Like, I don't know if you watched the game all day. There was a 99-yard return on defense. Cleveland defense spent 30 fucking plays on the field. Tired between, the offense being out there, Cincinnati coming back, 30 plays. That's more plays than they usually spend in a game. Luckily, the Browns were able to have a couple long drives and give them a little bit of rest, but it was pretty solid gameplay. I was a little critical of Stefanski last week, a couple of his play calls, but I think they're going to turn around. I think it's going to work out.
Now, in football news, I'm sure you guys have seen about Aaron Rodgers. About his COVID.
Yeah. No. Oh,
So-
minus COVID. Sir.
So
I keep seeing the meme with his helmet hanging off. Like, I've seen 1,000 memes. It's just like,
do you see what Terry Bradshaw said about it?
no.
So apparently, a lot of people are like tweeting about it. Apparently, Terry Bradshaw, I believe, actually yesterday morning said something about he said that he was immunized, and he got COVID. He said that he hasn't got any of the shots that the NFL proudly sponsored and pushed on him. And he says,
Right.
"Listen, man," he says, "a lie is a lie. A liar is a liar." basically. And he's like, you can do whatever you want, but when you lie about it, I know you can look at it more in depth, but so there's that. And then I just seen something when I was picking up Halloween decorations out of the garage. It said something about apparently Joe Rogan told Aaron Rodgers to take the ivermectin or whatever it is.
Right.
So I don't know if that's true or not because I didn't look that in depth. But everybody's trying to cancel Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's always trying to cancel Joe Rogan. They're always trying to, it's just like
cancel everything. Yeah.
Dude, if they canceled everything that was happening in this world, we'd have no world. Like, what an interesting situation, Let's not forget that Aaron Rodgers is a person and who came down with COVID.
Right. I mean, I had COVID.
Yeah,
it sucks. Nobody wants it. Like, it's miserable.
I think I tested positive on the second or third. It sucked. By all means, it sucked real bad. I spent a week not wanting to leave the couch. At no point did I feel like I was dying. A couple times I felt like I wanted to die, but I never felt like I was not going to make it. But, I'm still going to get the vaccine because there's like no definitive, like I've heard, and it's with all this information that's readily available, which I kind of wish we didn't have the internet anymore because it seemed like shit was.
See, well, just to kind of update a little bit on the Rogers and Joe Rogan thing. So he did confirm that he did talk to Joe Rogan about it. So that part was true. But he didn't. It wasn't just about the ivermectin. It was about the whole regimen that he took. Because Joe Rogan took, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, zinc, vitamins, and all this other stuff. He took like a full list of things. It wasn't just ivermectin. So he went and asked Joe Rogan what he took. He even mentioned it in this article that's what he asked him. So he took, what the same stuff that Joe Rogan did to try and get better quicker.
Right.
But of course, they're going to focus on just the ivermectin because that's what CNN is like.
Right. Yeah.
Dramatically focusing on.
Me and Kristen had it, and we burned through a bottle of 50 extra strength Tylenol in the 2 weeks that we were in it. That's all we did, really. I got some Alka-Seltzer cold and flu. Took that. It was mainly I had drank more water in those 2 weeks than I had ever, because that's all. I felt thirsty. I had the headache was constant. I couldn't taste, didn't smell. Still can't. Like, not really. But it just, everybody I asked who had it, they're like, plenty of fluids, plenty of vitamin C. So I ordered, what the hell was it? The airborne vitamin C stuff. Did that. Drank a ton of water. Like I said, I never felt like I was going to die. I just, lots of water, lots of vitamin C, some ginger ale because my stomach was kind of effed throughout all of it. But I mean, I think we're all going to get through it. I think we're all.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that do need to take the vaccine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. I heard a stat the other day, like 85% of all people who have died from COVID have had 4 or more comorbidities. Yeah. Underlying conditions that.
Yeah, and those people should be taking the vaccine.
Right.
Like those people are at risk. That's going to lessen their risk.
I even said that after I got it. And, most of the people in my office, they don't do it. And I'm like, I can understand if somebody had a pre-existing condition, how that would knock them down. Because it kicked my ass. And I'm pretty healthy. I don't smoke.
Yeah.
It kicked my ass. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, it knocked me down. Like, I was like, ugh. So I can understand if you were smoking or you were obese or you had a heart condition, lung condition, anything else. Like, I understand how that would contribute to your death, but and I was definitely on the fence about getting the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And after I went through that shit, I'm like, I'm going to get it even though I've had it because you can't be certain on they're like, "Oh, we don't know how long your natural immunity is." I'm like, "Whatever." I'll get
Well, also the thing you have to consider too is the efficacy drops dramatically depending on which one you get. The Pfizer ones. No, I'm talking about the vaccine.
Oh, the vaccine, yeah.
The efficacy on the Pfizer vaccine lasts longer than the other one does.
Right.
The Johnson and Johnson, because the Johnson and Johnson is just a single shot.
Yeah, that's the single shot, and I think
so. But the thing is that they're not talking about is that your natural immunity is usually a lot longer on your efficacy. Now, it wouldn't hurt to get the vaccine. The thing that I have a problem with is that how often are we going to have to keep doing this? Because they're not producing
all these booster shots. You're like, oh, you need to get 2, 3.
Because their efficacy doesn't last.
Right. Yeah.
And not only that, it doesn't stop you from getting it. It doesn't stop you from spreading it. It lessens the effects to you.
Which is fine by me.
Right? Yeah, no, I get that.
They're super spreaders.
The only reason I bring it up is because you're still going to carry the same load of the virus, whether you have the vaccine or not. It's just how well it's going to affect you. So the main argument against people that don't want to take the vaccine is that it's you who are spreading it, but in fact it's everybody who's still spreading it.
Right, that's what I said.
The people that are vaccinated are walking around less. Are more likely to walk around more carefree because they think that they have a better immunity to it, and are going to be more liable to spread it than people that don't have the vaccine. Because the people that don't have the vaccine are usually going to be a little more careful. Like, hey, I got an older grandmother at home. I don't want to bring that to her, so I'm going to be a little bit more precautious. Yeah,
that's what's killing me, because I've had it and it was horrible. And like I said, I don't want anybody that I know to ever experience that. But even if I get the vaccine, like you said, you can still get it, spread it. Like it's
not necessary. It's not really technically a vaccine.
Nah.
Because in the way vaccines work, it doesn't even give you, like, when you get it, you're not getting an actual viral load of the COVID-19. You're getting a protein injection that's stimulating your cells and basically mimicking and getting your cells prepared to attack for when that type of situation occurs.
Right.
When you got you haven't been vaccinated yet?
No, I actually was. I was going to go get my vaccine on a Saturday, and I tested positive Sunday night.
So the way when you get the natural immunity, from everything that I've heard and these are from doctors. This isn't just for Joe Rogan. This is from many sources and many different podcasts I've listened to. So if anybody's listening and they're like, "Oh, he's just a Joe Rogan head," sure, I love Joe Rogan, but I also listen to other things other than just Joe Rogan.
Fact check my shit too.
So
I actually researched.
Yeah. So when you get the virus, you get a different version because the vaccine is going after one protein. So it's only training your cells to do this one thing, whereas with the vaccine, with the natural immunity, you're getting, well, first of all, with the Delta, you're getting an updated version, so you're getting like a better defense against
vaccines. And then they were talking about the Delta version, which my girlfriend's son tested positive, and it was the Delta variant.
Yeah.
And
that's the virus adapting and trying to survive.
Right. If I would have gotten the initial vaccination, then it doesn't protect against this. But you still might want to get this. And I'm like, it just seems like there's a lot of...
Well, that's the vaccine going, okay, well, they're protected against this particular protein. Let's evolve to something else so that we can avoid that vaccine.
Right. Yeah.
That's the whole thing with it. That's why people are getting those breakthrough cases with the Delta virus, because it's not being affected really as much with that. You may not get the symptoms and things, but you're still getting the virus.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. I mean, everybody's going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm scared. I have asthma, so I really don't want to get it.
And luckily, I didn't have any respiratory symptoms. My girlfriend, hers were minimal while she had it, but she still has a lot of respiratory issues.
My worry is going to the hospital with respiratory.
She hasn't smoked for 5 years, but she wakes up every day and still throughout the day smokes like she has a cough or smoke. I remember waking up when I smoked and just, you smoke, Jamie. You wake up in the morning, you're just like,
it's settled in your lungs and all that.
Yeah, I mean, she does that in the middle of the day, and she hasn't smoked for I think it's been 6 years now. It was 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe more 7 years now because it was 5 years when we started dating again.
Yeah.
And luckily, I never had the respiratory symptoms. Mine were more. I had a headache, and I've had meningitis a couple times, which is the worst headache in the world. I didn't think there would be a worse headache, which the COVID headache wasn't worse, but it was like a dull, middle of your brain pain for 17 days straight.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
That'll
took
drive you nuts.
Tylenol. You know, it was just, but like I said, it wasn't the end of the world. It was just something I knew was going to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, to see her, who she didn't really have a lot of the stomach issues, or she didn't really have the headache. Barely had but her just the respiratory thing. And I've heard quite a few people say that they've developed pneumonia after COVID. So it definitely, I've heard studies and seen studies that it inflames your internal organs, which may, may cause other issues if you have existing conditions. But
Well, one nice thing is in 1 month from now, they'll be dropping Halo 6 Infinite multiplayer.
December 8th, baby.
If you're going to be stuck at home, sick for a while, you might as well be able to be ready to play some Halo.
I think I'm good by CDC guidelines for 3 months before I have to quarantine again, which thank God, Jesus Christ. That was the most miserable time in the world.
I'm sure the mental aspect of it all has to be a lot on a person.
Well, I think the worst part of it is I had to spend 13 days away from my kids, which I haven't done since they were born. But yeah, for sure. I talked to the lady I work with. She had it, and it's just her and her dog. She's divorced. Her kids are grown and everything. And I was talking to her, and she's like, it was the worst time of my life because there was no one around. Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I was with Kristen when she had hers, but can you imagine, as we sit right now, we're all in a room alone, going 13 days without seeing anyone else?
Well, see, I think if it were to happen to me and I was stuck in this room, TJ would be my quarantine.
Right. I'm saying we played it on Xbox then, but
I know what you mean. Like the actual
like,
human interaction.
Yeah.
You know what baffles my mind? Like, I'm looking over at these things. This is why I'm not on Twitter. But I'm looking at all these people that are posting stuff on Twitter about how Aaron Rodgers is an anti-vaxxer. He's an anti-vaxxer playing the victim over his own selfish acts, and he's listening to the crackpots like Joe Rogan. They're not even asking if he's how long he was sick and if he's feeling better.
Yeah.
Like nobody's like, hey, how are you feeling? Did you die? Did you go to the hospital?
There was also Aaron Rodgers drama before this with his contract and
it's like he asked,
circling back to the car accident thing that we were talking about earlier, and these overpaid sissies that make millions of money. We don't know how we would feel in that situation. I mean, maybe if I was worth $1 billion, then I don't know what my opinion on this stuff would be, but
so then you think of a situation. Think of this situation, okay? Mm-hmm. You think you are worth that amount of money? Let's say roughly around $7 million for the one season, okay? That is a salary issue. So you have this idea, right? You're gonna go ahead and send this $7 million goalie named Marc-Andre Fleury to the Chicago Blackhawks. Okay. So then the Chicago Blackhawks right now are the second to last place in the NHL. Mm-hmm. Him and his backup goalie are both at like .881 save percentage or something. So this weekend they fire the coach. All right. Now, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, again, you have all this money and all these things and how you do it. But think about somebody that actually knows their value, knows their worth, like Marc-Andre Fleury. He's not out there being reckless. He's taking care of business. They ship him to this team, and now they're like second to last. So then this week, Vegas acquires a new player on the team. Jake Eichel from the Buffalo Sabres, who were the worst team last season. Well, they actually have won some games this year, I believe. But so they pick up Jack Eichel. I believe they had to trade Alex Tuck, who is a good player, Jake Krebs, who is a new player we just picked up, and a couple of draft picks. And this dude's got like a $10 million salary, on there. So they get rid of the 7 because it's a lot. So now we have this guy who's got 10 million, who was the captain for the Buffalo Sabres. Now he's on the team. It's official, okay? And he needs to get neck surgery. So he's going to be out as soon as he gets his neck surgery here soon, I imagine. And he's going to be out for quite a while because it's a neck surgery. They don't know how long it's going to last. No one in the NHL has ever gotten this particular type of neck surgery that he needs. And it's just like, you look at them letting go of Marc Andre.
Right?
Could you, just the shit show from all of that.
Well, the most hated people in
shit!
the best.
Shit! There we go.
Like, everyone hates LeBron James, and I hate to hate LeBron James because I'm a Cleveland boy. He's an asshat. I hate to hate fucking Tom Brady because everybody hates Tom Brady. They are the best.
I love Tom Brady.
Where they go, they win. Like, and TJ, he's a Boston boy. He knows Tom Brady.
Oh yeah,
Tom Brady.
I still follow Tom Brady.
New England down.
Mm-hmm.
Belichick, which
Brady down
again. Belichick. Tom Brady outgrew Belichick.
Yeah, well, I think that Tom Brady is great and Belichick is great. The big debate in between a lot of Patriots fans was it Belichick or was it Brady that was what made us great? I think it was a combination of. I think it was a combination of the both.
Because Belichick was a great coach, even in Cleveland. I mean,
he was. He was a great coach before he
died. I'm not going to lie about it.
Didn't he win some? At least bring somebody to the championships before he came to the Patriots.
No, he was a young coach in Cleveland.
But even before that, we had Bledsoe.
He was a great coach. It's Cleveland's hard. I mean, it's heartbreaking. That's like I said. Normally, I'm like, oh, that's where stars come to die. I don't believe that about Odell Beckham Jr. we were talking about earlier because I think he's just a selfish prick. But
like a refrigerator gravesite.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of players break out in Cleveland and go to other markets and suck. And I've seen a lot of players do okay in Cleveland and then go to other markets and succeed. Which, whatever. I'm a fan, but I'm also real. I hope everybody does the best that they can. But no, I'm. It's hard with the Brady Belichick thing because I think it was just a tired market. I mean, Robert Kraft got busted with hookers down in Florida.
Getting a rub and tug.
Yeah, that was kind of like the thing, and I felt like that whole franchise was Gronkowski and Brady.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good roster. I mean,
they didn't.
You can't lie. We had
to support that. I mean,
we had a good specials team. We had a good offense, a good defense, a great coach. But I think when Brady left, Brady was kind of like Brady was like, okay, you have all these wheels in a clock, these cogs in a clock.
Like the
nervous
Brady was
system. Like that center. He was like that center cog, and we just let it go. You know what I mean? We just took that cog out and was like, we haven't been able to find the right size yet to fit in there.
There was the Aaron Rodgers thing, and then there was the red flag, and then it just seemed like it was
Deflate Gate and all that. You know what I mean?
Caesar in Rome, and then it just kept kind of.
Yeah, well, it's like with any team that's in the spotlight for so long, there's gonna find dirt.
Yeah, you know absolutely. I mean? Like the '90s, they were America's team, and then.
We were in the spotlight for almost 10 years. I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. Everybody knows the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. Any Dallas Cowboys fan will tell you.
I will always have a special place in my heart for the Cowboys. My emblem's got a little bit of the cowboy in it.
I mean, it was Trey Aiken. I mean, that was.
Oh man, that was the era.
maybe
Uh,
when
yeah,
when TJ was like out of high school because he's old.
I was in Troy Aikman and Emmett Smith. Oh, that was shoot.
I remember Jerry Rice with San Francisco. I mean, like these were like
that was the
John
era when they were
Shannon Sharp.
the big rival back then was San Francisco.
I
and
love sports
Dallas.
to this day as I did back then. Like
John
I
Elway.
cannot
Oh,
name.
I remember watching the Broncos back then a lot.
Yeah.
But they were great
Yeah,
teams, just like they are now.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cowboys.
But you know what? You know what they didn't have that we have now? 2 words:
Internet.
social media.
Yeah. Social internet. I mean, it's so like
you didn't know everything about every player was doing unless it was in the newspaper.
We were talking about the accident with the Raiders player earlier. That shit literally popped up on my phone minutes after it was released.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
that ruined somebody in a fucking heartbeat. Like somebody's life is over.
That's the problem.
It's kind of depressing. I mean,
condolences to the family.
Information available to us so quickly, but it's also kind of depressing that it can ruin somebody's life so quickly.
Well, not even stuff as serious as that can ruin somebody's career.
Yeah, anything.
In a
tweet
minute.
will ruin somebody. I remember, Howard Dean, who was campaigning for president, let out that silly little and in a yeah, dude, that was the end of it. I'm like, that really ruined this guy's.
Yeah, something silly like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with Joe Rogan. They can't cancel him because he isn't beholden to anybody. He doesn't have the same sponsors or deals with TV
because he's just real. He doesn't.
And the thing is people are like, well, he's got such a big audience. Yeah, but he's not a fucking doctor. Nobody that really listens to Joe Rogan is going, this is the guy I'm going to go to when I have, when I have to get an exam for a cancer.
Well,
you know what I mean?
He always says, he's like, he says, I'm not giving advice. He says, I'm like a chimp, He says,
I'm an idiot. He always says it all the time. And people are like, well, that's just being, he's just saying that so he can spread misinformation.
No,
he's not spreading information. He's asking questions.
He's just saying, I'm a real person, and I'm not knowledgeable on that.
I'm not telling anybody to do this, but
on that whole thing, real quick, before I forget. So this is something I found. I'm going to share my screen here.
So when he clicks that, I don't know, it'll pop up a thing, and then you just gotta click.
I'm going to play you something that I found.
Let me get you something.
Where are you? Here we go. So I found this after watching another comedian, and he was talking about how just to give a little background on where this came from. There was talking about big pharma and where the money leads and where these companies won't talk bad about Pfizer or the vaccine or anything like that. And the wondering why that all of a sudden there's so much positive stuff in the big media, and then there's so many questions about everything from everybody else. Mm-hmm. And this was what they were talking about. If you watch.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360.
Brought to you by Pfizer. ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer. CNN Tonight. Brought to you by...
That's just a clip. That's just a clip of all the... I mean, it goes on for another minute or so.
Brought to you by this drug company.
It's like all this big, huge drug company, this big pharma that's sponsored all of these... billions of dollars in the national news source that's supposed to be unbiased. This is supposed to be like an unbiased news source, and yet it's got all of this big corporation money behind it, and people are just fucking eating it up. Like, well, it said this on the news. The news isn't what it used to be.
Well, yeah.
There isn't an independent journalist going out and getting a story. These things are every story's processed.
I remember watching 35 News or Fox 66, Jamie, back when we were growing up, and be like, "Oh, that's news." Now you're like, I kind of need to research that. Is that true?
Yeah. Everything I see, anytime, like I don't watch media anymore. I look at online.
Well, everything is just too hard. Like I am big into the news. these days, because after we started doing the podcast and like COVID hit, it makes you realize that you need to learn more about what's actually going on in the world.
Right. And Kristen doesn't watch any news, and I'm like, "Did you hear about this and this and that?" And she's like,
well,
no,
I get newsletters
you need to be
from
aware.
smaller.
I also have to double check every goddamn thing that I see.
Yeah,
like, is that true?
There's no time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I have to pick like, I'll get like 4 different newsletters that have like stories that are researched by journalists that are actually written independently by a journalist, not like, okay, told by a news anchor on a quick screen with a scroll under that was sponsored by such and such company.
Right.
You know, like I've gotten away from that because it's just I don't believe any of it. Or if I listen to it, it's half true.
Like, did you hear this? And I'm like, I heard that, but hold on, let me research whether that's true or not, because you hear something from Fox News, you hear from CNN, this and that. It's 2 different stories. It's like,
yeah,
we live in a world where information is readily available, but I don't believe any of the stuff that's like shot at me. Like,
yeah, usually if I watch like Fox News and CNN, I kind of go where the story is in the middle of it.
Right,
it's usually around where it's at.
And he's a good guy. He's a bad guy. Okay, what really happened?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's at the point now where but it's so much work, and your average people can't do that. You can't do that all day. It's so a lot of people just see a headline, and the thing is they're going to get headlines. Yeah, they're going to get headlines that they're biased towards because that's how algorithms work.
What the hell was it? It was, I think it was Friday. Somebody posted that Sean Connery died, and I'm like, yeah, last year. Like, what? I'm like, he died last year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just saw it. I'm like, he died last year. Like,
it just took a while to come down the wire, huh?
Yeah.
You see a headline, and no matter what it is, whether it's
because they're flooded with everything else,
a news site or a TV station that I agree with, I second guess it. Like, is it? I mean, I was on Facebook; it had to be true. But I'm like, nah, he died last year, and people were like, "Rip." I'm like, no, you guys are retarded. He died last year.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people, the only news they see or get is from
Facebook. Yeah, Twitter. And that's worse. No, I've gotten into so many arguments with people over the last few months.
I'm sorry, Meta.
Shit on Facebook.
Meta. I forgot.
Yeah, I will never ever call it Meta.
No, it's Facebook. Meta is the corporation now, so the
actual corporation. But Instagram has the Meta logo now.
Does it really?
I'm like, oh
I'm gonna have to take off that app now.
Zuckerberg, but yeah, like, well, they're like talking. Oh no, that's not. Where did you read that? On Facebook? I'm like, I'm done talking to you right now. Like, no. Well, I was on Facebook. I'm like, you know how much dumb shit I see on Facebook? A lot of it is haha, like memes. I'm on Facebook for memes or to watch Jamie's, breakout music videos.
Thank you.
But 99.99% of the stuff I see on Facebook, tongue in cheek, like.
Yeah,
it's just face value.
But some people,
my YouTube and my Facebook is all puppies and
people
just jokes and stuff.
People like you don't ever post anything on Facebook. I'm like, because
puppies.
Nothing about my life unless I post like videos and pictures of my kids. That's all you'll see on my Facebook. Maybe Browns are getting it on without Beckham Jr. Nothing on my Facebook is me. At all, because
once in a while I do just out of frustration.
Don't judge me on my Facebook. I don't judge anybody by their Facebook because, I judge you guys because I talk to you. I don't ever judge anybody by their Facebook.
Yeah.
If I were to post to Facebook the things that I look on Facebook, I probably wouldn't have the job that I have because I'm pretty into some pretty raunchy memes. But no,
I understand.
Facebook is to show my family members, my friends, my children. They're to see. I mean, I've watched many of my friends. I mean, Scott, I'll be scrolling Facebook, and Scotty will see a picture of Olivia and be like, "That's my friend Olivia." I'm like, "I know." That's what me and Jamie post. We don't post political shit. We don't post.
None of
That's
that.
not a place to be serious. That's not a place to share beliefs. I mean, you got the people on there like, oh, like if you don't want to go to hell, blah blah blah. Got this and that, and there's people like that on there that I'm like, I'm fine with that, whatever. If you want to do that, but yeah,
Facebook I don't use Facebook to give me a voice on something that I feel very something a belief or any of that. Me, I'm a pretty neutral person, much like yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe there's right and wrong? Yes. Do I believe that there's things that are politically correct and wrong? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and feel like I need to express myself and be like, okay, because everything that they post, every single thing that you post, you're putting it out there for a million people to debate it.
Right, absolutely.
I know there's people out there that enjoy a debate. Me, it's just not. You didn't even see it. Hey, TJ.
God, he's pointing her finger over here,
like,
TJ.
But I said there's some people out there that enjoy debates. But me, I don't. I get on Facebook to promote my music mostly, or push pictures of my family and things like that. Much like yourself, I see Scotty and them are posting pictures, and I'll be like, oh look, I give them always the extended hold. Like you couldn't hold it down 1 second longer, really, really. Okay.
It's surprising how many.
I was just looking at my Facebook to make sure that I didn't post anything political. I think I have like 1 or 2 political posts.
I have lost more like friends that I grew up with, like elementary, high school, to stupid political posts or life views, pro-life, pro-choice, whatever. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And some these people. Like, quick to unfriend me. Yeah, I haven't seen you in 18 years, but, it's nice to see your kids grow up in pictures and this and that. I've had people, like, legit, I cannot be Facebook friends with you. I'm like...
We're Facebook breaking up.
I'm losing followers on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I always like, kill my kindness. I'll message them, be like, I enjoyed seeing your children grow up. I hope, everything goes well for you. I'm sorry that you were butthurt about my "Mine's an idiot" post.
You're better than I am.
Yeah, I'm just like...
I'm like, don't let the Lord hit you with a... Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you, bitch.
Like, I don't post anything real controversial. It's always tongue-in-cheek, like, I find this funny. And they're just like, I'm going to unfriend you now. And I'm like, okay, we probably shouldn't have been friends in the beginning, but okay. Well, like don't let it hit you with a good Lord split.
Make it easy.
I
love the debate, though. That's the thing. Like,
it's always so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe you. And I'm like,
I just imagine people standing on the other side of the keyboard like this, motherfucker.
Right? And
slamming down their keys, all pissed off.
You're
like, what did he say?
I never let this shit bother me, but the fact that people get so butthurt about it, I'm just like, Felicia. I don't even.
When I get frustrated like that, I'm usually like, okay, I need a break. I'm getting worked up over Facebook.
I remember that.
I see people
get worked up over somebody's stupid shit. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take a break.
I need to take a break. I can't handle it. It's too emotionally tolling, and I'm like, I don't get on Facebook for the same reason. I go there for dank memes and dick jokes. You guys are apparently using it for socializing. If you want to socialize with somebody, you don't do it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Messenger, maybe. I mean, me and JB talk Messenger. Me and you talk on Messenger. Have we ever communicated on Facebook? Have I left a post on your wall? Be like, hey,
no.
How you doing? No. Because it's not 2005 anymore.
Yeah. No, that's the reason I stay, like, off of Twitter. I had a Twitter account. I started it. I think I posted, like, 3 things.
I had one I think I started in, like, 2005 or 2006. Yeah.
Oh, mine was more recently. Mine was like maybe 2 years ago. I started it, and then I was just literally, I think it was to my brother. I was like, "Hey, what's up, Dingus?" And then that was it. Right. Something like that.
I think I have one person that I talked to on my Twitter when I had it, and that was Snoring Junkies.
Pump Pit. I feel like it's less toxic than Facebook.
No, Twitter's like, I steered clear of it because it's a shit posting ground.
For sure.
It's just toxic as hell.
I used to get on it for like traffic before Waze came out.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, stuck on.
Oh yeah, I still like. I go to follow people like that I like on YouTube, and they're like, "Oh, check out my Twitter." I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah, I would, because you could literally you could search by proximity.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like I-90 Menor. And be like, oh, there's bad wreck. And then Waze came
Oh,
out.
okay.
Like, oh, don't need that junk anymore.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it was shit. Somebody would be like, oh, there's an accident. And then people would be like, oh, people should learn how to fucking drive. And
I hope they died.
Just be like somebody who got into
I'm
a fender bender.
I'm late to get my crawler, and I hope that dude died. You know what I mean? Like,
What? Dude, it is. That's why I don't post much on Facebook. It's like I saw something the other day. It was on a marketplace thing, and it was something that I think it was an Xbox 360 because Kristen's son wanted one. So somebody mentioned, and they're like, "Oh, you're on crack. This is too much money." Which it was like it's like $100, and they came with like 15 games, a console, 2 controllers.
Yeah.
Like that's not bad. I mean, it's.
I would have been like, "It's good crack, though."
And it.
Oh, that's why I'm asking for so much money. I need more.
It was like the 2 or 3 comments after that, like arguing with him, who said that they're on crack, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to stay off of social media. Like,
yeah,
it's getting, like I hate people more and more every day.
Marketplace is terrible now. Like I tried selling a laptop, and I get like a message. Hey, could I send you a PayPal through this, and I'll give you $200 less than what you're asking for. And I'm like, this just sounds like a scam, dude. I'm all set. That's cash. Meet you in a spot. You know what I mean?
I had a really good transaction last year. Kristen's son wanted a oh fuck, what was it? Do you remember what Camden wanted last year that I bought him?
What?
Oh, it's PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was selling one for like $40 with a bunch of games. Just like cleaning out my son's closet. He was in college now. $40. I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you there. Cash, no problem. Seamless transition was wonderful.
Nice.
Tried that again with the Xbox 360. Got all those. Are you on crack? You must be doing crack. You're on crack. I'm like, oh my fucking god. I ended up finding an Xbox 360. Ended up buying off from his cousin for $100. Then I was going to get her other son an Xbox 360. Same time as Xbox One S took a craps. So I let him borrow mine. I'm like, just text my One S. She's like, oh my god, you just like gifted him that $350 Xbox. I'm like, I don't want to deal with people in Marketplace because that's way more toxic and more stress than just give him my old Xbox, and it gives me an excuse to buy the Series X that I can't find. Who is it?
Olivia.
It is Olivia.
Hello.
Hello, Olivia. So nice to see you.
She says hello. Want to say hi?
Look at that big bump. Oh, she's talking to you, not me.
Take it.
Olivia, not me.
Yeah.
You're scared. Why are you scared?
Daddy's girl's getting so big.
Right? I still kind of think back to the... Oh, you can't hear me. Now TJ needs to have a couple little ones.
I'm good, thanks. I got 5 of them. I'm good.
What's that?
I got a new job.
I told TJ now he needs to have a little one. He's like, no, I'm good, thanks.
About that, we'll discuss that at a later time.
We already talked about that.
I'll let everybody else have kids for me. I'm good.
So speaking of which, to give a recap for everyone that's been following the podcast thus far. So if you remember last year, we got started in. Oh man, I had the studio that I set up in my basement.
Is that where that is? Is that where you guys recorded last night?
No, we started in my basement, and I tried to. So the quick rendition of what the stream and stories were was Did the first stream down in the basement. Got everything set up. Go to set it out. Set up my digital mixer. It's got like 18 channels. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. And we tell everybody we're getting ready to go live. Everybody gets on there. We start streaming. And when I'm trying to set it up, I'm like, how can I not set this up? Like, because I want to be able to use all these channels. And it's only letting me use one or two. I'm like, it makes no sense to me. Okay. So I shut it down. We had about, I believe it said we had 1,000 viewers.
Oh shit!
So we have a crap one. And that's actually not that was not an estimate. That was roughly what it said. It said there was like 1,040 people watching or something. And it was like, I can't really hear nothing. This, whatever. So I hurried up and I rearranged everything and I set up a condenser microphone and I got it to where we could at least have sound going out of one microphone. And then that was a problem because there was too much sound over one microphone. So then I had to cover the microphone, put it in a corner, put a speaker out in the front, whatever. And this is all on the fly. Well, we ended up doing two on-airs last year, if you guys remember. We did Next in Queue on air. Everything went pretty good up there. It was the first one we did up in the new studio. And then South of 90 did one up there. And it went pretty well. But the videos weren't syncing up and stuff. And the sound was okay. So yesterday, my for the last 2 weeks or whatever, just been working really hard at trying to get 4 webcams going and all the stage lights.
I was asking Ty. I'm like, what the hell's Jamie's been up to? I haven't talked to him. Then when we talked last night. He's like, yeah, I've been real busy trying to set this up.
Man, it's been soaking up so much of mine and my buddy Mikey's time and the Wolf. Okay. Yeah, so the Wolf and I, we was out there working on everything. And then how it goes with audio and any of that stuff. You got to stand here. One guy's standing there, and they're like doing this to make sure all the other cameras are in sync. And then you're saying all kinds of dorky stuff and weird stuff in the microphone because they're like, say something. And you're like,
something.
All right.
Now, that should look good, especially when you told me last night, you're like, we're just going out raw. Like, I watched that, I'm like, there's no fucking way that was not produced.
Yeah, dude, that
especially
was
live. I love the camera on top of the drummer. Like, that was...
Jim Cam. The infamous Jim Cam.
I'm a big Motley Crue fan. Of course, you gotta go Tommy Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking roller coaster drum set. Big into that. And that shit sounded good. Like, I'm like, if they mix this shit, that shit's getting played on the radio for sure.
We, that's obviously another aspect of it, as you know, and that's going to be coming soon, which we are really excited. After a year and a half of trying to figure out how to get shit to sound good and look good for a stream, especially for a whole band, I felt we got done with the stream yesterday. And I'm like, all right, well, it wasn't a stream. We just recorded it. And I'm just like, all right, guys. So the next time.
Send me the teaser. You're like, here's this YouTube link. Yeah. Can't watch it for another 79 minutes. I'm like, yeah, fucker.
So what I did was I set it as a premiere. So the reason why I did that, letting the audience and our listeners know is, so I figured, because I had to set the private, so you could send the link out and anyone that you send the link to could watch it. So a couple of us are watching just to listen to. We're like, yeah, this sounds cool. I'm like, all right, I'm going to premiere this thing at 8 o'clock.
I was toe-tapping, pissing that
shit. I clicked premiere and it says that you can interact with people on YouTube or whatever when you set it as a premiere. So like the very first time that it plays through, I was on there and I was communicating with whoever was talking to me while we were watching it together, which actually was really cool.
That's when it was private still?
Yeah, but it was still at private under Premiere. Wanted to let everybody know that thank you so much for everybody that checked out that video and everything, because the last time I looked earlier this afternoon around 4 o'clock, we were at 130 views, which was pretty awesome for a video in 15 hours or something. We put up we did end up putting up another one today as well. But yeah, so we're really excited because now we have figured it out. So now when we're ready to set up in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a live stream with the band, either a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday. Obviously, we're going to let people know in advance. We're going to post it on the pages and things and let them know, hey, on this day, this time, we're doing a live stream if you want to check it out. But I was really amazed when I was listening to it because we were able to get the drums captivated, and we were at a minimal setup. Like Jimmy didn't have his snare drum. Mine was a little bit lower ended snare drum. We had his drum pad, which we were able to incorporate. So actually, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up to you, TJ. Because this is something I didn't get a chance to tell you about. So when we set up because you got to see everything when you were here. So when we set everything up, here was the only problem that I ran into, Scotty, was that, so I had Mike and I had, Scott, they were listening to it with their headphones, and the headphone amp monitor that was coming out of the main of the amp, or of the Behringer Air. But when they were listening to it, it sounded way different than what they were hearing out of the computer, because someone bumped the one main knob on the headphone amp and cranked it all the way up when it was actually supposed to be another thing that was turned. And that was okay, not a big deal. But so what I'm going to do to prevent that from happening is I'm going to hook the headphone monitor, instead of out of the air itself, the mixer, I'm going to have it come out of the laptop. So then that way when you're listening to it at the board, you can hear exactly what's coming out of the desktop, what it sounds like, and what the people are hearing as well. Because, dude, we had 20 video clips, 30 video clips just from yesterday. People got to see the 3-minute song. It took us almost 4 hours to get that right.
Right, absolutely.
And it sucked because we recorded one song, everything sounded good. We're like, all right, more guitar, more of this, more of that. We get everything adjusted. Hell yeah. We listen to it like, all right, so let's listen to it again. So I get this idea. I'm going to click on this thing on the air to mute everything in a hurry. Well, the problem was I didn't save what I did, and it just muted everything and completely disabled everything. So we had to build it all back up again. Like, fuck. I'm the whole time we're sitting there, kick drum, doom, right. I'm sitting there, sorry guys, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. We were like 2 hours in. I am so sorry. So sorry. But I was glad that the wolf was taking care of the computer and the board. He is honestly, he's one of those guys. He doesn't want to have his face all out there all the time. He doesn't want a whole bunch of,
What's his name?
He did. His name's Mike. You haven't met him yet.
No, I met Jerry.
But the wolf, he's awesome, and our big shout out to him. He'll probably never even get to see this clip, but seriously, man, without him and Scott running the board and getting all that dialed in, yesterday wouldn't be anything like it was. Those guys were the ones that were taking care of it. And it was nice because when I was watching the video back, I got to see me actually like sitting there being a bass player who was getting to sing a little, rather than me sitting there like after every song swiping away on my tablet, adjusting this, fixing that, tapping that.
No, I saw when you guys went into the harmony section that you were on the mic. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. It sounded good.
Seriously, man, thank you. Anyone wants to check it out, please do. South of 90. That song is called Whoa, WHOA. It is our latest single. You can find it on pretty much YouTube right now. Because we are in the process of recording it correctly, and we're going to get it all set up and recorded and put up on all the major streaming platforms. So,
and if you could do them a big solid when you do listen to it, it helps to get the song out in front of other people, is like and leave a comment. Doing those two things, it makes a huge difference because it puts interaction into the video, which feeds that to the algorithm. And that will liking it will put it in front of people who like similar things. So the more interaction they get in the comments and the likes, that's going to boost it and put it into other people's feeds naturally, so that they'll naturally grow outside of just word of mouth and things like that through that Yahoo and Facebook algorithm.
Absolutely. Does Ralph play with you guys?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Because I know I'd seen him and Jerry together, and then I saw the South of 90 thing, and I just caught them on like some acoustic sets, like the Valley, times. But
Oh, so good. So
Well, hopefully, if I can get out there,
that's a whole talented family, man.
right?
if I move, hopefully, if I move out there, I'll be able to go with you guys to bands and stuff like that.
I didn't know. I don't know them all that well, but the story with their father recently, like between Gary's Facebook posts, like I think I just saw one yesterday, and I'm like you said, very talented family and very tight knit family. I'm like, oh, just have like we talking earlier. You take everything on Facebook with tongue in cheek, like this and that. You do see posts every once in a while. And it's like,
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, no, it does.
It's
It
one of
hits you.
those. Yeah, that was one of those.
And for me,
I remember the first time I met Jerry, I bought my house, and I had some flooding issues, and the township didn't want anything to do with it. And I ran into Jerry
when he was the borough guy. See that, TJ?
Yeah, ran into him. Ran into him at the Valley. Introduced myself. First time I'd ever met him. He's like, "Oh, where you live?" I'm like, "Oh, there." He's like, "Oh, yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I work at the borough." And I'm like, "We gotta do something about this flooding." I'm like, "Shit just runs down here, and it's my fucking problem." Like, I literally, I think I was only like 2-3 weeks into buying this house. He's like, "Let me see what I can do." Next thing I know, they're digging up my front yard. They're like, "You got an 8-inch into 12-inch into 13-inch sewer pipe that's not going anywhere." I'm like, "Oh, I'm well fucking aware. It's in my front yard." Or all that shit up. Caught all kinds of shit. He's like, "No, it needed done. Like, we're literally flooding," which I still have flooding issues, but he made it right. And I'm like, "Dude, you're good people." Like, listen to me. Like, he was like, "Yeah, like I said, we're real small town people. We can talk." And and then all kind of went to shit after he didn't work for the borough anymore.
That's kind of what I've heard.
Yeah,
things changed a little bit.
Yeah, my neighbors turned into dickheads, which I'm never even home, and they have like shit attitudes with you. I'm like, I'm literally home like 2 days a week. Pay all my bills, pay my taxes. I go to Meadville, fruit fly, most of the days during the week. I'm like, what? Why are you people such assholes? But
because some people are just assholes.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of felt like old Connieville when I bought my house, but then it's kind of like new Connieville now. I'm like, nobody cares.
You know what? I was really glad though. Trick or treating was nice, wasn't it?
We went to Meadville, the plateau, just because it's so short now. I mean, remember when we used to go trick or treating when we were little? You'd have a few hours. They're like, oh,
yeah, it was 1 hour.
Yeah, we're gonna go Thursday.
6 to 7 p.m. Yeah. But it was either that or trunk or treating. So
I told my business development manager, I'm like, I gotta go off early to go trick or treating. She's like, "Oh, it's not till Sunday." I'm like, "I know, we do it the Thursday." She's like, "What is that shit?" I'm like, "I don't know, and that's just what we do." So had to take an hour off of work, hurry up, rush around. Like, by the time you get them in their costumes, get their asses outside, it's dark. Last year they did it. We went to Meadville, and they actually did it on Halloween, which was, I believe, was on a Saturday last year. It was nice, especially amid the COVID situation. Like, I thought it was going to be like the end of it. It was not by any means, but it felt like a nice little break. And then they're like, "Oh no, we're going back to Thursdays." I'm like,
yeah, we ended up.
So they have Thursdays off. Or Thursday Halloween, Friday off of work, which I had to take both my kids to work with me the next day because our egg donor is whatever. We won't talk about that, but I took both my kids. Make sure she wasn't listening. So I took both of them to work with me the next day, but it's just not the same. I remember when we were kids. Like, I remember I used like my mom said something to me the other day. She's like, I don't feel comfortable with your children going to the park, which literally less than a quarter mile away from my house.
That's a nice park.
Like I remember riding my bicycle from Beaver Center, which and official road, Beaver Center.
You know you live in the boondocks when it's called Beaver Center.
To Mineral Springs, which has to be a good 8 miles.
I'd say that's probably about 7 or 8 miles, right?
Yeah, that's up by your house.
Oh yeah.
Riding my bike through there, like on the trails and shit, and then riding back. Like, and you got a problem with you didn't know what the fuck I was doing at that age. I also watched a movie, which I did post a Facebook post about this. A movie that I distinctly remember watching as a child. Should not have been watching as a child. There was a lot of TNA, and there was a lot of murder and stuff, and I'm like I questioned my parents' parenting abilities after I was watching this shit. This fucking fruit fly keeps coming. But
they're just trying to stay warm now. Man, it's been cold. I woke up the other morning, it was like 33 degrees or something at the house there.
I had to go get Kristen's son from her cousin's house the other day. It was 29 degrees. Like frosted windshield, like scraping this bitch at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like
37, I think, this morning here.
Jeez. See,
Like
but we got kind of lucky. I mean, TJ went through that bad storm here not too long ago.
Yeah, we lost power for a couple of days.
Yeah.
We luckily have
I
a
thought we were going
generator.
to get a little bit of it. They said the northeast part of the states were going to get it, ice storms and stuff, which usually we get all that dumb shit. We didn't get anything.
Yeah, I had friends that were out of power for 5 days.
Yeah,
like
that must have been
yeah.
like all.
Good thing good thing you had the generator.
Yeah, it was. We didn't have any because there was so much outage all over the lower New England, lower Massachusetts, Cape Cod, and all that we didn't have even cable. Cable was all out. Everything was, even my internet on my phone. Like I had barely had 3G because some of the towers were out. Like
We had one of those. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. I think, Jamie, we had a real bad ice storm which yanked down a bunch of stuff. But I mean, honestly, for this area, we've been pretty fortunate. Like, we haven't gotten a lot of snow. It's been kind of cold, but like I remember winters when we went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we didn't even have snow days, so they're like, get your asses to school.
Yep,
You get like 3 inches, and they're like,
one of the schools here had half power. Where after a couple of days, they brought the kids back to school. They only had my niece's school only had half power. They had built half power. They had power in half the building. So they're sitting in a classroom and they're not doing anything. They had no internet. There was because there was no internet on Cape for like 3 or 4 days.
$1,000 snowblower 4 years ago. And we had a winter, and I have not used that motherfucker in 4 years. I did not use it. I'm anticipating because we had a real bad winter the year before. I bet that bitch is still on its first tank of gas.
Yeah, we had a propane generator. We had 160 gallons. We only used 30 gallons.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it was running straight for 2 days at least. A little bit more.
2017 Indian motorcycle that I bought brand new. That I have 3,000 fucking miles on 4 years later. So.
No shit, huh? Wow.
What I do with my time.
Well, I know what I do with my time sometimes. I know tonight I'm going to be playing some Splitgate here in a few minutes. Killing some time before bedtime. Back to the grind tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'm going to head to Meadville again, go back to Kristen's house. Daddy's like super excited. And she's like, tell him about my new tablet. I'm like, nobody gives a shit about your new tablet.
Hey, new tablets are cool.
She has a tablet in my house. Well, she has like several tablets at my house, but I was like, how about we have one dedicated to Kristen's house so I don't have to always wonder, we grab your tablet. I'm like, this one stays here, this one stays there. She's like, okay. Well, we had to come back to my house, so of course we had to set it up. And she's like, look at my tablet. I'm like, nobody gives a shit about your pink tablet. And then you took as she was saying it, you took the headphones off Olivia's head. She's like, look at my tablet. I'm like, She can't hear you. It's fine.
Oh, my bad. That kind of helps me make a decision that we were discussing earlier about your situation. My gaming laptop, I bring it in the house. I hook it up.
Yeah.
I take it to my studio. I hook it up. I go to somewhere else. I hook it up.
You playing a laptop or are you playing a
Laptop.
PC? Yours is all laptop?
All laptop. Everything I've been doing for the last 5 years on my computer has all been my laptop.
Send me a link to what you got. Because if you're playing on laptop and we're playing together, I'll go that route. Because I didn't want to go for a dedicated PC because I'm like, it seems...
It's expensive.
TJ,
but I'll
he spent the chang, but
I can,
that's
I can
nice.
tell. I
But
can see his setup in the background. He went all out on the PC.
Yeah, I spent a good amount, but I mean, that's what I did with my stimulus.
see, I got my laptop out here, or in the house here, and I got a monitor here, probably 20, maybe 17-inch monitor or whatever that I use, and then in the studio, I have my tablet, and then beside it, I have a 32-inch flat screen TV that I hook to
Where's the
it.
studio? Is that in your backyard or
What's that?
where is the studio? Is that in your
Above my garage, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. In the loft above the garage. Yep.
All right, that's I saw the blankets and everything. I'm like,
yeah.
obviously acoustics, but I'm like, where is it in the shed?
Yep. Nope. It's in the garage
TJ.
itself.
You're hours away. You've seen TJ or you've seen Jamie more than I have.
Yeah, and we're 3 miles away. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
Sometime we'll find time.
Well, I'll be probably moving down there. I'm not sure when, but I think up there wherever it is. But yeah, that's the plan is to to get up to you guys and be out in there permanently.
Yep. That's the plan.
Doing drugs.
So, what's that?
Said TJ's doing drugs.
He's over there asthma vaping.
Yeah.
That's
All
awesome.
right, I'm gonna.
Yeah, we gotta call it. I gotta
I
got a game starting and stuff. And you guys get to hold me.
You guys gonna be on?
I'm gonna be on for probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
All right. Catch up with you in 30 minutes.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks for hanging out on the cast with us today. Thanks for checking out Sprangboro Sessions. You can always catch us on YouTube. You can catch us out on Facebook. And
absolutely. Hopefully, the people
Spotify.
that were mentioned appreciate it, and some good people in this.
And please, when you check it out, if you can again just like it,
like and subscribe.
comment on it. Well, subscribe. You're already in the Facebook group if you're watching. Subscribe to Jamie's. You have a Facebook Sprangboro on YouTube. It really, really helps push us in front of more and more people. So it really gets the ball rolling. And hopefully, if we keep moving at a steady pace, we can, maybe do this full time.
That's right. Might that be something? All right, y'all. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Stay focused. And don't forget to live your best life.
Peace out.
Deuces.